Hola a todos, pues volvemos hoy a hacer una entrevista para conocer mejor cómo es la agroalimentación de un país, en este caso europeo, mediterráneo, que bueno, pues tiene cierta relación con España, no solo por los productos que elabora, que algunos son parecidos o iguales, como es el vino, el aceite de oliva, también el ovino es importante en este país, sino pues por la similitud de esa dieta mediterránea que tanto nos une. Y para ello contamos con el consejero de Asuntos Económicos y Comerciales de la Embajada de Grecia en España. Buenos días.
Buenos días y gracias para la invitación.
Muchas gracias a usted por estar aquí con nosotros. Let's talk in English for the questions. And we'll start with a general question, that is, what is the importance of the production of food and beverage in the gross domestic product of Greek?
It is a very important sector, combined with agriculture, the agricultural production. The agri-food complex is representing approximately 8% of the Greek GDP. Individually speaking, agriculture is representing 4.4% of the Greek GDP, and the food and beverage industry represents another 3.6%. They combined, they represent approximately 15% of the Greek exports, 8.2 billion in 2022. And it is a sector that has been strategically chosen during the period of industrialization of Greece after the Second World War. There was a strategic decision which industrial sectors, light industrial sectors, would be developed in Greece. A big one was food and beverage. Another one was the textile industry and the apparel industry. So it is a sector that has deep roots in the Greek economy. The food and beverage industry represents more than 1/4, more than 25% of the total industry of Greece, of all the industrial sectors combined together. Concerning the gross value added of the sector in 2021 figures, it is approximately 29% of it. So it is a big sector, it is an important sector, it is a sector that is pretty much internationalized. The Greek agricultural products and processed agricultural products are in many countries, mainly in Europe, but also in the Americas and in Asia, Australia, all over the world. And I have to say that over the past 15-20 years, we have a flow of incoming investments, even from very big players in the international market, that are coming to invest in the Greek food and beverage industry. And a plus of our industry is that we have managed to build a network, especially in our area concerning the food and beverage products, Southeast Europe, Balkans, Eastern Europe, and in some cases towards the Middle East.
Okay. Let's talk, yeah.
For employment now, or you will ask me? Yeah, okay.
Yes, the employment in the economies that are more developed regarding the agri-food sector is going down at any country. What is the percentage, or how is this figure in your country?
For Greece, still the whole agri-food complex is very important for employment. If we take into consideration only the industrial sector per se. It employs something more than 137,000 people, which is approximately a little more than 37% of the workforce in the industry.
Really?
Yes. If we take into consideration and it represents 2.9% of the total workforce. Now, if we combine this with the people that are employed in the agricultural sector, the agricultural production, who are something more than 500,000 people, that is 10.5% of the Greek workforce. So, combine these two sectors represent 13.4% of the Greek workforce. For agriculture, especially, I have to note that Greece is number 3 in Europe, in the EU, after Romania and Bulgaria, in terms of people that are working in the agricultural sector, and we are number 7 in terms of people that are inhabiting rural areas in the EU, at the EU level. So it is a very important sector. In 2021, if I'm not mistaken, the Greek production represented 3% of the total EU agricultural production. This is the range.
Okay.
It is quite big for a small agricultural country like
Important. Yep. If we speak about any specific sector, for example, the pork sector, in January the African pork fever arrives to your country. What are you doing to control it, and how is the situation nowadays?
It arrived again. Okay, you know, I've been studying about this and also talking with my colleagues at the Ministry of Rural Development. So this is an old story with the African swine fever. Starting back in 2007, it spread a little bit all over Europe. So it is present in some EU members and non-EU members. It started from the Central Caucasus, this disease, which, by the way, as far as I know, maybe you know more, is not affecting human health directly. Now in Greece, it showed up for the first time in the beginning of 2020, just before the pandemic. There was a case in an area northeast of Thessalonica in Central Macedonia, in the region of Central Macedonia, close to the border with Bulgaria. Now in 2020, I think it was February, by April it was contained. The last case that was registered was in April 2020, and after that we proceeded to many measures, even very fast measures, killing suspected animals, etc., in the contaminated area. Now, in January this year, it appeared again in the same area, and it was a wild boar that was the carrier of the disease, jabalí in Spanish. So again, the measures were immediate. The very good thing is that we are even better organized than in 2020, because we mobilized immediately the central authorities, but also the local veterinary health authorities, the National Center for Disease Control, and since October 2022, Greece has established a special task force on the national level for the African swine fever. So this time we demarcated potentially contaminated areas, and there is active and passive surveillance of animals. As far as we know, it is well contained at this time. I have to note something else, that Greece is an importer of pork. So we import 2/3 of what we are consuming. We have a population of approximately 750,000 pigs, but we import much. So we cannot say we are exporting products all over the world. So we believe it's contained. We see and we update you for later.
Ok. Estaba buscando cómo se... melocotón en conserva, ¿cómo se dice? Pichi. Canned peach. Ok. Greece is one of the most important countries in the world in the canned peach. What is? Can you say something about this industry in your country?
Yeah. It is very important. Me, I have dealt with it from the beginning of my career, and I started my career from the United States, where is our very big competitors as well, or at that time. It is a very strong sector that still for Greece, based on the very high quality of the products. And this is due to the consumption habits of the Greeks that are requesting high quality product. Now, average production is of approximately 300,000 tons per year, exports of 300 million euro per year. It is an important sector for Greece. Last year, because I got updated information from the Greek Canners Association, the production mainly of peach in Greece is taking place in Central and West Macedonia, so northwest of the country mainly, close also to Thessalonica. Last year the production was of 450,000 tons of peach, and out of this it was 11 million cartons of canned peaches, that is 253,000 tons of canned peach. Out of this, the export was 220,000 tons. So you can see it is a product that is mainly going destined to exports. We export to many countries, mainly EU, 70% is going to the EU, mainly Germany and France, also to the UK, and also out of Europe. A big market for us in the old days, but it is lost for us and for everybody, it was Russia. I mean, big part of our exports was going to Russia, but this stopped 2013, 2014 with the previous war in Crimea. And we have found other markets. To Spain last year, we exported something like 14.5 million euro of canned peaches. Okay. So we are still leader in many markets. A big competitor over the past few years is China. Okay. Yeah, they had entered very, very strong in the canned peach sector.
And the olive oil. What is the situation nowadays in Greece regarding the campaign, the water, no water? How is?
Right now we are quite happy, I would say, for the time being, because especially in the campaign of 22-23, we have a record high production, almost of 330,000 tons. according to the latest figures of the Ministry of Rural Development. Out of the 110,000 tons is the consumption in Greece, and the estimates for the exports 2023 amount to 190,000 tons. Now, in Greece, you know, we are right now we are number 2 after Spain, because Italy lost a big part of its production. Many local varieties, or different local varieties, many of them protected with geographical denomination, geographical indication. Many farmers that are depending, as in Spain, they are specialized in the cultivation of olives to produce olive oil. And a big part of our production is exported to Europe, mainly Italy, Germany, France, out of Europe, US and Canada a lot, Australia a lot, Spain. Last year we exported a value of approximately 61 million euro. This is to fill in the gaps in the supply of the Spanish market, I guess. It happens from time to time. Also Austria, Cyprus are our main markets. I would say that, okay, we are concerned about the drought conditions, but we are not as concerned at this moment as Spain in the olive production sector. A problem that we have, but we are working, and we have done a great progress. Again, if I compare it to the beginning of my career, is that we bottle more and more of olive oil, but we still export in bulk.
Okay.
Especially to Italy.
Like Spain. Aquaculture. Greece is a great producer of fish in aquaculture. Why is that? What is what is coming the custom of doing that, and how is the situation of this production now?
First of all, okay, Greeks were fishing always. This is number one. Our seas, the Aegean, the Ionian Sea, used to be very rich seas, and still are in some aspects. The industry started building like more than 30 years ago, almost 40 years ago. It happened almost all over Greece. It passed a very big period of expansion, and it expanded also internationally with investments abroad. It overexpanded at a certain point, so this is why it faced some problems, especially, but during the last decade, there was a reorganization, consolidation of the industry, many mergers and acquisitions, and right now we have a big synergy with Spain in this, because group Abramar, that is based in the Valencia region, groups together the three big Greek aquaculture companies, Andromeda, Nereas and Seloda, plus Perseus. Perseus is a Spanish company that is in the group with the participation of American and Emirati investment funds. So we have a big production. We are very big, especially in sea bream and sea bass, Dorada, Ilubina. We export all over the world. 96% of the Greek production comes from these two species. In 2021, we sold the sector sold like 132,000 tons of fish, and our exports are mainly going to 80% of the production is going abroad. 58% of our production goes to Italy, Spain, and France. Italy and Spain are the two big markets for the Greek fish. It's very good quality. We are really, really proud of our fish. Of course, and this is something I forgot to say about the olive oil also, it is a concern, as in all food products, the prices, because we are getting more and more expensive, and if the situation goes on with the war and everything, we will see prices that are really right now. What the Greek fish farming is doing is regaining and rebuilding its international position, and our main competitor now is Turkey. They had huge progress over the past few years. We had big investments in Turkey in the fish farming sector, so we can say we gave them also some know-how. But I think we are doing well. I had the pleasure also to meet all the guys from the Greek fish farming at Seafood Global exhibition in Barcelona, last April.
Interesting. And also this kind of exhibitions in which all the products are shown, or the people can see what's going on.
Yes, and we have also, apart from Avramar, that is Greek-Spanish, let's say, all the production facilities, most of them are in Greece. We have also investments. We have a Greek investment from Galaxidi fish farming in Spain with the company Aquidelta in Tarragona, I think. And we also have the biggest provider of fish provider of Mercadona, Grupo Profund, I think. They have bought Kefalonia fisheries in Greece. You see in the market you find big quantities of Greek fish in Spain. Yeah.
Let's talk about in general the future or the present, I don't know, of the agri-food sector, the agricultural sector also in Europe regarding the Green Deal, the biodiversity strategy, farm-to-farm strategy. How do you see this situation? How your operators are thinking or working to approach the Green Deal and all that is coming?
Yes. First of all, let me say that the Green Deal and all the policies that are coming out of it, like the from farm to fork strategy, that is a basic component, are all very sane and good policies to improve our imprint on the environment, to reduce the emissions, to reduce the imprint of agriculture even and of the agricultural industry to the environment. We adhere to all the principles, and since 2020 we are also trying to adapt. The thing is that, however, that all the member states, we have, let's say, lapse in technology, because the new situation with the Green Deal needs lots of technology. Agriculture and technology go hand by hand in order to be efficient and not to have to reduce your emissions, CO2 emissions. You have to use technology. Technology means we need to have investment, and this is our problem, because I will take an example with a precision agriculture, for example, which is a technology that is contributing to the Green Deal. So in Greece, it is very limited. Very limited. Why? Because we have the problem of the very small agricultural property exploitation in Greece. And also the morphology of the ground does not favor. We don't have the huge surfaces. In Italy, for example, I don't know the figure for Spain. In Italy, it's representing approximately 28% of the total agricultural production, the precision agriculture. In Greece, we use it a lot in the viticulture, in the vineyards, especially the vineyards where the grapes are destined for producing wine. Mm-hmm. What are we doing as a government towards the Green Deal? We, first of all, the Ministry of Rural Development is implementing programs to modernize the agricultural irrigation systems in Greece, the network, because it is relatively old and we want to improve it. So these are big investments. We also have to, what we are doing is we are investing in small scale energy production, like small photovoltaics for agricultural, for farmers, yes, for using farms. A big part of our policy is to target, to favor, in terms of investments, cooperative schemes of Greek farmers. This is something that was not happening until some years ago, but it is some years, especially after the economic crisis of the last 15 years, last decade. We have many new farmers in Greece, people that left the big cities with degrees from agricultural universities or chemistry or other things, and they are dealing with agriculture, and or people that have technology and know-how. They combined all this, they put their efforts in agriculture, and these they brought a cooperative spirit, and we have now clusters of farmers, we have people that are cooperating, even the big companies of the agri-food sector and some distributors, they formed clusters with farmers. So it is something that is changing, and our Ministry of Rural Development is directing, let's say, its efforts towards these clusters of farmers. In Europe, you know very well, this is the trend, to have cooperative schemes, not just very small independent farmers. But again, all this needs investment in technology, investment in education, in training of the farmers, and this investment cannot come only from CAP, from the Common Agricultural Policy, because you know it is quite difficult to extract. The funds are like dedicated, restricted to specific destinations from CAP. We need something more, and we need something that is adapted to each member state's individual needs. for example, I told you, Greece has this particularity. It is a relatively small territory, not with extremely big, huge surfaces, and also the agricultural property is tiny. So this is recognized by the EU. I mean, we had recently at the Delphi Economic Forum that took place in Greece, the EU talked about this. They said, we recognize Greece's particularities, but we are waiting to see more in terms of European funds, and that the member states will be able to adapt to their own needs. So this is the solution, because the Green Deal gets us more expensive, you need investment. This investment, it has to come from somewhere, yeah?
Yeah.
Not only from co-financing, yes, EU and member states, of course.
Mm-hmm. To approach this new strategy from Farm to Fork and others, technology is the base for that. How is the situation there, and how do you expect agri-food farmers, agri-food sector and operators are going to comply with this?
Listen, okay, if we are talking about the industry, the level of technology of the industry, the processing in the manufacturing is very high, of very high standards in Greece, in all sectors. Now, in agriculture, we need improvements, and this is why, I talked also before about this. We have to get ready for the next, for an extra step in equipment, in genetics, in digital tools. The sector has to be digitalized. Data collection techniques, use of drones, etc., etc. We have to have the green packaging, the vertical farming, the production of meat out of plants, etc. All these things will get us more efficient. We have to have a more holistic approach, and in Greece we need some organizational and operational, modernization and a digital transformation. What is happening now is, as I told you before, with the coming of the new farmers, we have more cooperative spirit, more synergies, more clusters, joint marketing platforms for the products, and joint export strategies that are helping the sector to become more extrovert. And in Greece, the farmers need also, this is something we are investing a lot in, training. Because the traditional farmer was not very well educated. So we educate in the job how to do a better job. Of course, we have a special component of the RRF that is dedicated to agriculture, and we are directing funds to agricultural projects. The RRF, yes, is the Recovery and Resilience Fund, and we are quite happy with this. There are sectors that are being specifically promoted, like organic farming, like viticulture, etc., to promote technology. As I told you, in the viticulture sector, in the sector of wine production, it is rather vineyard cultivation of grapes, etc., precision agriculture is widely used in Greece. And of course, again, we need to have a good financing from all parts, from the CAP and also from the RRF, what we have available.
In this context that we're talking about, the cooperatives are important in Greece or not?
In Europe, the cooperative schemes represent approximately, in the EU, approximately 60% of the agricultural trade. In Greece, they represent like 20%.
20.
Yeah. So it's not a huge thing. This is why we believe, and especially because of the problem we have with the small agricultural exploitations, we want to have more synergies and bigger schemes to take advantage also of the available funding. You know, the little producer is not able even to build a project to get financing. Bigger conglomerations can get better chances, yes.
Okay, the cost in the last 18 months, more or less, are very high and higher than it was in the past. How is the inflation affecting the price of the products and the cost of the producers?
Yes, it is true that we all face a similar problem, especially in Europe, but also in other parts of the world. It was, you know, it is a result, let's say, of two things, in my opinion. It is the energy shift, the shift to cleaner energy, that happened almost concurrently with the breakout of the war in Ukraine. So we have an explosive price situation, but we have some good things. Things are getting better. Today I was happy to see that the figures for Spain, I mean inflation went to 2%, 1.9. Yes. In Greece, in May, I don't have the figure for June, maybe it's out, but I have not seen it. It was like 2.8% in May. The general CPI. But the food inflation is much higher. 11.6% for the food products in Greece in May, and 3.5% for alcoholic beverages and coffee. So why? Some people are saying why? Because the costs of energy in general are going down. In general, there are some fluctuations, but in general they are going down. First of all, energy, the response to this is that, first of all, energy is not the only factor of cost. There are other costs in the chain that remain high, or they get even higher. Plus we have distortions or shortages in the supply chain that generate this intensity of the food inflation. So, as I said, it is in Greece, but in Greece what we can see over the first 6 months of this year is that the value of sales, in the domestic sales of food and beverage, the value is going up, but the volumes are going down. So, however, we can see all over Europe, and in Greece as well, the beginning of a general downward trend of inflation. And we are faithful that if the situation doesn't get worse with more shortages of grains or stuff like that, we will be able to get rid of a big part of this problem of the high costs in the agricultural production. Of course, there is also a time effect, because the reductions in the prices of energy have not been reflected immediately on the product price, yes, on the shelf price of the product, etc. This is something normal, I think. We have some, very well with the beginning of this was also with the grain shortages. Then we fixed this problem with the exports from Ukraine, with the Black Sea initiative, but again it created other problems with very low prices in some EU countries, yes, causing problem with their home production. So there are many problems, but I think that at the end of the day, if something we wish doesn't go more wrong, or the war is not prolonged for very, very long, we will manage to improve inflation. Right now it's a problem, of course. Everyone, each one of us is experiencing it. Yeah. I can feel it also going to the supermarket in Madrid.
You and me, we are also consumers, so. Does it? How do you see Greek population, Greek administration, the agri-food production in Europe? How do you see the situation in general in the EU?
Okay, first of all, if we have a look at the figures of the EU agricultural production, it is doing very well, because I can see everywhere that there is an upward trend for the last 10-15 years. We are going more and more up. I read a very interesting data that that the value added of the EU agricultural production is a little higher in value of the Greek GDP. So this is an interest, 200 something billion, 230 billion euro. And Greece is the number 16 country in the EU in terms of GDP. So to give us a relative, so it's going well in general, but with many little or bigger problems. And these problems are again related to three basic things that make agriculture different from other sectors. First of all, that the farmer's income is always lower than for other categories of workers. The agriculture is more dependent on weather conditions and climate, and this is, I was happy to read yesterday that in the Spanish newspapers that the EU is going to approve extra funds for Spain, but also for many other countries, including Greece, for the drought conditions, to help the farmers. And number three, that it is a sector that you have to, there is a time gap between demand and supply. The supply cannot immediately reach the demand. There are some intermediaries, there are so many things that inflate. The problem right now is that, in my opinion, that the inflation and all this inflationary environment inhibits investment. So we said before again with the Green Deal, because the EU is trying to take measures so that we become greener, yes, but to become greener we have to invest, all of us, the EU and the member states, and to be able to invest we must have additional funds and make also better use of these funds. As I said, in our opinion, we need something more than CAP. We need to use more the agricultural reserve because this is the time to use it. I mean, we have extraordinary circumstances. Yes, I mean, the EU food security could be threatened because of the negative international environment. So, and plus, so the European strategic plan for agriculture should be more flexible at the bottom line. More flexible and giving space to the member states for selecting the sectors where the financing, where the investment will go.
Okay.
So in Greece, with our strategic plan, because there is a process of submitting new strategic plans per member state, we have, for example, some sectors like we have, and I forgot to say, we didn't talk about fisheries as well. Fisheries also, I mean, the EU fishing fleet is being reduced in numbers and is not modernized. So we need investment also in the fisheries sector. And we also need to invest as Europe in the protection of our products, the PDO and PGI products. In Greece we are not very happy about the level of protection, not in the EU. In the EU they are protected, but with the job that is being done within the framework of the EU accords with third countries, we are not very happy. Yeah. I believe we can do better as Europe. So what I was saying, yes, okay, that in the Greek strategic plan we are investing in sectors like organic farming, in agri-forestry, in the maintenance of the agricultural landscape, in viticulture, in irrigation systems. I think these are the sectors that we need to improve and to invest in.
And
also in the reducing or alleviating completely the use of pesticides. In Greece we have a very good record in this. Our farmers are very, very educated in this, but I think we must work even harder.
Even harder. Okay.
Yeah.
And how is the relationship between Greece and Spain in commercial relationship?
Yes, it is concerning the agricultural sector. Yes, it is quite strong. I would say that first of all we have many similarities. I found out about this, coming here also some months ago to Madrid and studying the Spanish economy. We are very dependent on agriculture, both countries. It's a very strong sector. We are both agricultural countries of the south of Europe, Spain is a very big agricultural country, top exporter worldwide with many products and the huge surfaces. We have a common characteristic of, again, populations of areas that are living or depending upon the cultivation of specific plants or breeding of specific animals to make their living. Okay, you know, we are given many common battles even in the EU context because we are fighting for the rights of the agricultural south of Europe. Yeah. And I was very happy also to see that in many cases we have synergies between Greek and Spanish institutions, agricultural institutions, research institutions, universities, etc., in European projects. So I think that all these, there are also two things I will note very briefly because I think it took us a long time. Two things. One, that Spain is also, can be a gateway for Greek products to the Latin American markets, and Greece can also be a gateway for Spanish agricultural products for the Southeast Europe and Middle East. So we are competitors in agriculture, but we are also working together.
Okay, it's a good point. We are we're finishing the interview, and what do you think are the future and the problems or the issues that we have to approach to improve and to keep on working on that in the agribusiness sector?
Yes, I will tell you. On top of, for Greece, I will talk about Greece specifically. On top of what we mentioned before, that we are becoming more expensive, we need investment, and all the international environment that is very pressuring right now. Greece has some extra problems. I mentioned a few of them earlier, but I will mention again. Small size of agricultural holdings. This, okay, it is something that, you know, it generates good quality, high quality, but on the other hand, it is not very efficient in terms of productivity. Level of education of the farmers. This is something we are, as I told you, in the training, we are investing a lot in Greece. And relatively low level of penetration of technology and innovation in the sector. This is also changing. All these three combined have created over the years a lower productivity for the Greek agricultural sector compared to the EU average. It was back in middle of last decade, approximately 65% of the EU level was the productivity in the Greek agriculture. In the agri-food industry, it is 80% better, but we want to get it better, you know, it's not enough. So these are the main challenges for Greek agriculture. This is what we are going
focus on that.
We are focusing on.
Okay, we are going to finish, but I will comment with you about the Olive Oil World Congress that we are organizing and that we have shared information with you. We hope we can see a lot of Greek producers in Spain next year in the Olive Oil World Congress, and maybe we can organize the second edition in Greece. Who knows?
In 2024, I think, yes, it is, yeah. Yes, listen, our office, because I had the chance to be present at the presentation that you had a couple of months ago, we informed everybody in Greece about this new initiative, and I have even made Zoom calls with people to inform them. I don't have anything concrete right now, but I know that we still have a year in front of us, ahead of us. So hopefully we will have the chance to bring Greek companies or experts. The sector is very strong. I had the chance last week to be present here to attend a little bit the summit of the IOC, and to meet also some colleagues that came from Greece, from the Ministry of Rural Development. Greece is standing strong on the olive oil sector, and we wish you best success in your initiative, and we hope we will be able to bring companies.
We'll collaborate, and we have scientific people who is from your country nowadays, so we'll improve it and increase it. What do you say to the farmers in your country about the future and the present? How do you see them, and what would you say then?
I would say that we are facing a difficult environment right now, but we think we can start seeing the end of the tunnel. Agriculture is a very sensitive sector and with huge responsibilities, and the agri-food industry, social even responsibility towards the society. I mean, people have to eat so that they can survive. We believe that we should have emergency support as the one we will have very soon for the drought. Yes, these things are very, very important, and we have to be more flexible at the EU level. This is something that Greece is strongly supporting in all the meetings, in all the reunions at the EU level, in all the discussions. Of course, linked to the needs of each member state with full transparency and documentation. I mean, we don't mean that every member state will take the EU funding or the CAP funding or whatever and will do whatever they want. No, we abide fully by the rules and we play by the rules, but we must have a bigger space, larger space to maneuver according to our needs. Each member state, we fully support, and of course priority use of the agricultural reserve, because exactly these are the extraordinary circumstances that we are facing now. We strongly support all the efforts of the EU to support the farmers in Ukraine. I mean, this is something that has to be done. I would say, as a general remark to conclude my and to answer your question, that we have to say to people that they have to be patient and to have confidence that the governments of the EU member states and the EU itself are doing their best throughout these difficult times, that we have, again, an energy shift that is happening towards cleaner, that inflates costs, plus the war that inflates costs as well. They are doing their best to try to make the best out of it to improve also the competitiveness of the agricultural sector and the agri-food industry. This is my advice.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Muchísimas gracias.
Very interesting, and we'll collaborate with a Greek producer of food and beverage. Thank you very much.
Igualmente, también. Thank you.